Shalom, Yasharallah. This your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahawah, Bahashim, YAHAWASHI, Bahashim, Rahakodash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here news, basically this news story that's going on right now at this here moment. You know, I believe it was yesterday or whatever it broke. You know, the story broke about this. It says 9 Americans from Mormon family killed in suspected drug cartel ambush. All right. But nevertheless, you know, digging into this a little bit, you know, there was actually a story on Vice a couple years back that kind of, you know, covered this. You know, it was a couple years back that kind of covered this situation about, you know, basically the Mormons and, you know, dealing with Mitt Romney. All right. You know, the guy who ran, I believe, against Barack Obama. I think maybe the second time or something like that. Maybe the first time, I'm not sure. But nevertheless, Mitt Romney and his family that's actually down there. All right. Now, you have to study this Mormon situation, man, a little further than what it is, man. Now, this isn't like, you know, this is more or less something else cloaked in the veil of so-called religion. All right. So don't let the so-called religion part, you know, stir you. Oh, these are just some good religious people. First of all, we already understand about the so-called religion and so on and so forth. All right. We don't subscribe to none of that bullshit. But nevertheless, all right, this ain't, you know, just because they keep putting out this here Mormon family, that's why you're noticing this, right? They keep putting out the term the Mormon family, whatever, whatnot, you know, trying to get that sentimental value up out of the situation. You know, they trying to milk it as, you know, as much as they can. You know, they trying to get the sentimental value out of the people right now. Oh, man, how could they do this to some Mormons or whatever religious people? You know, when shit like this happen, they like to use religion for to get sympathy from people, you know? Oh, how could they do this to some Mormons, some Catholics, some Christians, or whatever, whatnot? You know what I'm saying? They use that, you know, but in the flip side, you know, they'll play this here article or this here news story, and then the very next news story is about how the Bible teaches hate or whatever, whatnot. We got to ban the Bible and ban all these religions and so on and so forth, you know? Going into these damn hypocrites. They use the scriptures whenever it's convenient for them or whenever it suits their needs. But nevertheless, like I said, you have to do a little more research, all right, into these goddamn Mormons and what the hell they doing over there in Mexico, all right? Now, they'll tell you the story that they decided to move to Mexico from out of Utah, all right, to basically, how do I say, you know, which is also, is actually in the scriptures dealing with polygamy, all right, with the term that they call polygamy, all right, having multiple wives and things like that, which, you know, if that's a stumbling block unto you, this definitely is not for you, all right, because your ass so blind, you don't even realize that damn near all your founding fathers had multiple wives, all right. You know, you can go back, just talk about Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, all right. He had 2 different wives, all right, and basically 2 different baby mamas, right? You know what I mean? For a total of 4 different baby mamas. You know, he had his 2 wives, all right, Rachel and Leah, all right, and then he had babies with their handmaidens as well too. You know, and this is how you get the 12 tribes of Israel, all right? So how do you even go to church and talk about the Lord's people, whatever, whatnot? Well, the Lord's people come out of multiple, a guy who had multiple wives, all right? But nevertheless, and like I said, it's all throughout the scriptures about, you know, having multiple wives and things like that. You know, shit, Abraham had multiple, well, he had children with multiple women, all right? But nevertheless, getting back into this here story, all right? One other thing I do want to say about this, like I said, don't let the so-called religious thing get you out of context, all right? Now, they also keep putting up here these Americans. These people actually live over in Mexico. They got how do I want to, it's like a compound out there, all right? They got a couple different compounds out there where they go out there, like I said, they say this so-called to practice their religion, you know what I'm saying, for you know, without being harassed or whatever, whatnot, you know, unmolested, be able to practice their religion unmolested, all right? And obviously the word molested, you know, don't let that be a stumbling block. That's just mean, you know, we got signs out here say don't molest the gators. They ain't talking about don't be fucking the gators. It's just saying don't mess with the gators, you know? But nevertheless, you know, that's what they went out there for, you know, was, they say for polygamy, what do they call it? Blood atonement or something like that, you know what I mean? Where they can basically kill in the name of God, or there was one other reason that they wanted to go out there. But nevertheless, like I said, you have to do a little research on what they are actually out there doing, right? Now, long story short, these motherfuckers is moving drugs and guns, right? But they're not going to just, like I said, you got to dig for this, right? But nevertheless, they have a lot of their couple different colonies out there, all right? Stemming from Mitt Romney and their family. This is Mitt Romney's father, in fact, was actually born in Mexico. All right, that's where they come from. All right, not saying that they're so-called Mexicans or nothing like that. They just happen to move out there from a place out in Utah, I believe. All right. But nevertheless, I'm going to go ahead and play this here video real quick about the news story, and then we're going to get into some scriptures, all right?
Riddled with bullet holes and still smouldering. The hollow, burnt-out remains of one of the cars in the convoy.
This is for the record. Nita and 4 of my grandchildren are burnt and shot up.
They were among 9 women and children, some less than a year old, ambushed by gunmen on Monday. All US citizens, they were linked to a breakaway Mormon community in northern Mexico.
Helpless families are being innocently killed down there.
Relatives in Utah try to...
Real quick, what does scripture say? No man has ever perished, roughly paraphrasing, no man ever perished, whosoever perished being innocent, all right? There's a reason for all these things that's going on, and this is why I'm actually doing this here lesson. All right, you know, and I know this might be a touchy subject for, you know, especially new people coming into this or people coming across these here videos. How could you make a video about this, so on and so forth, you know? The importance of it is for our people, all right, to be able to understand the times that we in and what the Lord is doing for us, man. All right, because look, they was talking about some these innocent people was burnt up over here and so on and so forth. All right, but nevertheless, you know, matter of fact, after this video play, I'm gonna pause and I'm gonna actually look up a couple photos. And I'm gonna show some photos to show you the so-called before and the after. All right, the you know, the cause and effect of a lot of these different things. All right, like they say, what goes around comes around. All right, that's what do I say? That's balance and that's justice, right? And this here court system that we have here in America that a lot of you people subscribe to. If your family got, if this was your family, what would you want to happen to the people that did this to your family, right? You know, a lot of people, oh, those people should be killed. Those people should be murdered. All right, well, what do you think happened? Why do you think, you know, throughout the spirit, which we're going to grab in the scriptures, why do you think all this is happening, man? All right, see, just like 9/11 and things like that, you know, y'all was all justified with supporting the troops and sending those troops over there to go bomb and kill innocent people, whatever, whatnot. But then you sit there and you got that retarded look on your face like, oh, how could such people bomb us? And how could such people do such and so on and so forth? These are evil people. You know, it's like, wait a minute. You think you play such a victim role, and how could such a thing happen to, you know, when things happen like that to you, but then in the same token, you over here doing this, you know, you're the one planting these seeds, man. All right, now you mad that you got apples falling off the goddamn tree in your yard, you know what I'm saying? But you the one planted the apple tree in your yard, man. You can't be mad that apples are starting to, and this tree done grew up and now apples are growing in your yard. Can't be mad about that because you the one put the seed in the ground, man. What you thought was gonna happen, man? You know, you like, why is this tree sprouting apples or whatever, whatnot? I wanted watermelons. Well, you didn't plant watermelon seeds now, did you? You planted apple seeds, so therefore you're going to get apple seeds, man. All right? Hey, there's another scripture, you know, the Most High is not mocked. You know, whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Whatever you plant, bro, that's what you're going to get, man. You was planting wickedness and so on and so forth. We ain't even got to get into too far into this because, like I said, I'm going to just bring out a couple scriptures. But how the hell did you get over here, man? And what did you do to the indigenous population over here? And who did you bring over here? And how did you treat those people when you brought them over here, man? All right, so let's not forget about your past, man. Just like when you go to court, they look at your past criminal history and so on and so forth and use that according to the judgment that they're going to cast out on you, man. If you're a habitual car thief or a habitual person that skips out on bond, what do you think? You think they're going to give you a bail? Nah, it's going to be based off of your prior, you know, how they say your priors, all right? But nevertheless, let me continue on in this video.
Make sense of the murders.
It's not just got caught in gunfire in the wrong place at the wrong time. This was a whole new level of cartel violence.
No, it's a whole new level of the Most High bringing down that judgment on your ass, man. All right, because for so long, hey, like the scriptures say, man, they keep, you know, roughly paraphrasing, they keep they doing this here wickedness, all right, and then they basically think that the Most High don't see them and think that the Most High is altogether like them. Oh, fuck it, we're going to just do this here wickedness and then ain't no judgment going to come down because they've been getting away with it for so long, man. But really, you haven't been getting away with it for so long. It's just like the goddamn FBI investigating your ass, man. Yeah, they seen you just do that hand-to-hand drug deal with the damn undercover cop. They could have busted your ass 2 years ago when you did this shit the first time. They've been buying drugs from you for the last 5 years, you know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, they going to wait until they get a big enough case to when they bring your ass to court. You know what I'm saying? This is how they get such a high conviction rate because they've been working the case for so long, letting the evidence build up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, you started selling drugs today, right? An undercover cop came to you today, all right, bought some drugs from you today. You've only been selling drugs for 1 day. But what, they gonna let you sit there and pile up a big ass case. So now, whereas you would have only went to jail for, you know, the amount of time you would have went to jail would have been based off of you selling the drugs for just the one day or whatever, whatnot, the amount of drugs that you sold. But no, they're gonna keep coming back for time on end, so you can build up that case. So once they bring you to court, bro, you ain't got no chance, man. All right. But nevertheless, continuing on.
US President Donald Trump spoke to his Mexican counterpart by phone and offered American assistance to fight the cartels. Earlier tweeting, "The cartels have become so large and powerful," he said, "that you sometimes need an army to defeat an army."
Now, again, you have to understand a lot of, like, the history of a lot of this shit, man. All right. First and foremost, all right, this is the biggest, like, man, like here, like, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to understand about these cartels and stuff like that. You know, there's a lot of cartel people around you here in America, man. You know, the cartels here, especially here in Florida, like, you know, we have a huge Hispanic population, and motherfucking damn, the cartel is here, man. All right. And, you know, going into certain things, you understand that, you know, when you read these comments, they talk about some, oh, well, the drug war, whatever, whatnot, the war on drugs. When you understand all these things and the history of a lot of this shit, man, all right, this is all being done by the American government. There is no way possible. You know, they show you videos about these people smuggling drugs, right, where they got the little backpacks and shit, and they walking through the damn desert, or they find a pickup truck full of cocaine and shit like that. That is not how they smuggling drugs, bro. They do that shit for y'all so that y'all feel a little comfortable that they so-called winning the war on drugs, man. That's not how they smuggle drugs. They're not gonna waste their time with no one pickup truck full of cocaine, man. It might, you know, you might have some weight on that truck, but fuck that. They're not doing that shit, man. They're not walking through the damn desert with no drugs on their back, bro. That's retarded. That's not what they do. These motherfuckers drive semi-trucks, man. Full semi-trucks with nothing but cocaine and weed in the back of that shit, man. It's not covered up. It's not hidden into nothing. You know, they had that one bus where they busted, what was it, like a pepper truck, a truck with peppers in it and then some drugs in it. Again, like I said, when you see shit like that, that's them just doing that. So every once in a while, they let the public know that, you know, oh, your money, your tax dollars ain't going to waste, man. These people drive semi-trucks over the border, straight over the border. Semi-truck, like, bro, in a regular damn day, bro, they probably shipping like, you know, 400 or 500 semi-trucks over the border with this shit every single day with nothing on the back of the truck but pure cocaine. If you open the back of the door up, you just see straight cocaine, bro. It's not hidden or nothing. This is how it's getting across the borders, man. Building a wall ain't gonna help. You know what I'm saying? Plus, they got the tunnel system, but they don't really use the tunnels and shit like that for that, man. All right? They do that for smuggling people over here into America. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that they bad people that they smuggling over here. These people actually the people that's working out in the fields and stuff like that, that's picking up your produce and stuff like that. That's how, you know, they actually make a lot of money for bringing people over here to America, because Mexico's so fucked up with the drug wars. Those people don't want to live over there with that shit, man. All right? But nevertheless, going back into them bringing these drugs over here, this is all done by the U.S. government, man. All right, and they use the cartels for this here purpose, man. Just like they did us in our neighborhoods, man. They take away all the resources, fuck up all the resources first and foremost. All right, and then they just sit there and they give you, you know, take away the jobs, the resources, so on and so forth. So now everybody's out there starving. And what do you think they're gonna do? They're gonna throw one piece of steak in the middle and one gun in the middle and just let y'all fight it out, man. So what? They introduced the drugs into the community. All right, and then now we got a source of income. Now these people over here fighting for territory and so on and so forth, man. All right, just like they did with the crack epidemic, man. All right, because why? We was actually functioning as a society. You know, the so-called black people was functioning as a society in that point in time. But what? The American government brought that shit over here, man. All right, so like study cocaine, man, and the origins of that shit, man. You know, there's a dude. He's out of jail right now, and he does a lot of interviews on different sources like Vlad TV. All right, he does interviews on there, a couple of different interviews on Vlad TV. Matter of fact, there's a show on TV. I don't know if it's still on TV or not, but I know that my mom used to watch this show called Snowfall. Now, the Snowfall show, all right, is basically giving you, you know, they got a little things in there that's not necessarily true, but it's based off of a real life story of a person named Freeway Ricky Ross. Now, if you're in a hip hop and stuff like that, you knew back in the days, like when Rockefeller and Jay-Z and them was out as a team, they had a rapper called Freeway, right? Now, this person stole his name from somebody else. You have another rapper, right, whose name is Rick Ross, right? He stole his name, all right? So the original dude name was Freeway Ricky Ross, right? Now, I believe his real name is Ricky Ross, but they would call him Freeway because they was part of like the Freeway Boys or whatever, whatnot, you know? But nevertheless, when you do some research on Freeway Ricky Ross, he'll tell you, man. All right, and now this actually went into you know, I believe he got like life in jail or multiple life sentences in jail or whatever, whatnot, but wound up beating his case or winning an appeal because they fucked him over so much. You know what I'm saying? And really, this is a huge story, just like Frank Lucas. All right, if you understand Frank Lucas and the shit that he was doing, he didn't even realize he was working for the goddamn government, man. All right, and when you watch the movie American Gangster, they don't tell you 100% out of that movie what was going on. But how the hell did he get this connection to where he could be flying his drugs back over on military planes? All right, i.e. smuggling drugs for the CIA. That's what the fuck was going on. That's how he became so big, man. All right, but nevertheless, going back to Freeway Ricky Ross, all right, and you do the study on this guy and his origins, all right, going back into, this was before crack and all that came out, man, and cocaine and all that. Before all this stuff came out and came over here, what happened was, again, when you go into this story, there was a dude, a Nicaraguan dude, which was not really his friend. It was this dude that he met, all right, which the Nicaraguan dude was basically picked up by by the CIA and shit, right? Now, there was a war going on in his country, all right, in Nicaragua that was going on, and there was also some shit going on over in Iran, right? Now, this is where you have the story of the Iran-Contras. You probably have heard of the Iran-Contras and Oliver North and so on and so forth, all right? Now, some people might be like, what the fuck does this have to do with cocaine and stuff? This is what they was doing. This is how they make their money. You know, America finances a lot of things where they, you know, if like, let's say, for instance, they're working on a nuclear bomb, right? Before the nuclear bomb came out, right? They can't, you know, how the government allocates money towards certain things, right? They got certain black projects. They don't tell you what the fuck the black project is for, so they have to get money, all right, and not have a paper trail for it. Like I said, if you watch the movie Snowfall, they kind of like illustrate this a lot, where there's the FBI agent or the CIA agent, and he's trying to, you know, the objective is they trying to wage a proxy war in Iran. All right, now they wanted to get some hostages over in Iran. The Iranians wanted to take in some Americans hostage or whatever, whatnot. And one of America's so-called ways of being is not to negotiate with terrorists, which that's on face value. That's what they say on face value. But in that same case, they actually negotiated with the terrorists. All right. But nevertheless, what they were doing was, again, they couldn't have a so-called paper trail because it's called plausible deniability. All right. They don't want to say that we was fighting, you know. It's like an undercover cop telling somebody, oh, yeah, you know I'm a cop, right? It defeats the purpose for an undercover cop to be driving around in a marked police car in his police uniform, because obviously you're going to know he's the police, right? So this dude has to sit there and be undercover for real, regular street clothes and a regular car. And if he so happened to get in the car, let's say he dealing in drugs, right? Now, if he around this motherfucker that's buying and selling the drugs, or buying drugs from or selling them drugs, he might have to actually use the drugs, you know? So it's not like a so-called paper trail, like, why you don't want to do the drugs? Are you a cop? No, I got to blend in and look normal, right? So they don't want a paper trail with these drugs. So in the Ricky Ross situation, what they would do was, again, there was a war going on in Nicaragua. They picked up this dude who was kind of like trying to, you know, help out his people, whatever, whatnot. But nevertheless, they used him, all right, to basically, they was moving drugs. They was selling drugs over in Nicaragua. He was getting money to basically help out his own people. That's what he was getting out of it, all right? And then you had the American government. What they wanted to get out of it was the fact that they was trying to basically, I believe they was arming some, they was arming people in Nicaragua, but also they was trying to basically settle this situation in Iran with the Iran-Contras, right? But again, they couldn't pay them outright out of the government budget, you know, we paid Iran for so on and so forth, you know? But nevertheless, in fact, I believe when Obama lifted the sanctions on Iran or something like that, something like that happened. They wound up unfreezing some money for there, and everybody was all up in arms. Oh, damn, they gonna have money for terrorism. Like, motherfucker, we the one froze their money. America froze their money, and this was from way the fuck back then, you know. But nevertheless, going back into this here situation with the Iran-Contras and stuff like that, and Ricky Ross, they used Ricky Ross, all right, who just wanted to, his mom was like losing her house or whatever, whatnot. Nah, that's what's in the show. He wanted to make $5,000 to put some goddamn rims on his car, so he wound up selling some drugs, right? He got into selling weed, I think, for his uncle or whatever, whatnot, and somebody came around with some cocaine, right? And this was the introduction to cocaine, all right? Now, he wound up getting into the business, not knowing what was going on, and people give him the title of the crack king because they think that he's the one who created crack cocaine, all right? Or the formula for making crack cocaine, which crack cocaine, when you do the study on that shit, was created in the laboratory in UCLA out there in California, all right, which this is where it's all come from, right? But nevertheless, out there in UCLA is where they made the crack cocaine. Ricky Ross started selling all this stuff and then wound up getting busted because the majority of the time, homeboy's plug was the motherfucking CIA the whole time. So the CIA was sitting here flooding the American streets with cocaine so that they could sit here and fund their proxy war over in Iran and other places throughout the world, Nicaragua, and I believe they was also working out in Panama or some shit like that as well too. All right, but nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? America didn't want to use face value, say, oh, this is what we over here doing with these illegal operations, so we got to do it undercover. So they introduced cocaine into the American population in the war on drugs against, you know, our people, you know, in the late 70s and the 80s. And before that, they was using Frank Lucas to do the same shit. When you go into his story, this is why they tell you that really the only people that was bringing in heroin, really, he was the only other person besides the Italians to be like the main plug for heroin. Everybody had to, you know, if you was getting heroin in those days, you had to go through the Italian mafia somewhere down the line to get it, you know? And this is also why when you watch a lot of these mafia movies like Goodfellas and shit like that, they always stress, don't do drugs, don't get in the drug trade, don't touch the drugs, so on and so forth, because really it was all the way up at the higher ups, you know, the heads of these mafia families was dealing with this because they was plugged in with the goddamn government, all right? This is how the government knew who these people were and how they was moving and shit like that. All the top mob bosses all lived in the same goddamn neighborhood. Matter of fact, in the Frank Lucas movie, they showed you that, where Frank Lucas was living in the same neighborhood as the rest of the mob bosses because they were all basically being used by the police, the CIA and shit, all right? But nevertheless, this is how heroin got to the United States. This is how cocaine got to the United States, all because of the American government they needed a way to make money. So they was funding their operations by selling drugs to the American population and using basically Jake to do all of these things, all right? Now, fast forward into this time, all right? Well, yeah, fast forward into this time where we got the Mexican cartels and whatnot, man. All right, now, the cartels have been there for quite a while. They've been out there doing the same shit for quite a while, all right? In reality, you got to go back to, what was homegirl's name? La Madrina, Griselda Blanco, right? Griselda Blanco was this chick who they called the godmother, right? She was like the cocaine queen for real, right? When you watch movies like, now all these people are all connected. This is one continuous line of people, all right? These are all they all work for the police, man, all right? Not to say directly, but one way or another. Like, Freeway Ricky Ross didn't know that he was goddamn being used by the goddamn government till way later. He had already got caught, you know what I'm saying, went to jail and so on and so forth, and as he was trying to dig into all this, he then found out that's what was going on. So they didn't directly know that this was going on. All right, but Griselda Blanco, homegirl, came into the picture where she was from Colombia, and they was selling and moving cocaine and shit, cocaine and shit like that. Right now, she would be basically, I'm gonna use the term birthed these people, but basically she raised up these people and they was molded in her image, right? So you have Griselda Blanco, and her protege would have been Pablo Escobar, right? Pablo Escobar. Now, you go watch different movies, and these movies coincide with this. Like, if you watch the movie Blow, right? Now, the movie Blow with George Young, all right? The dude, you know, and that has kind of like two different movies in there, all right? But George Young, all right, if you're in, like, Florida and you know about this, they had this thing called the Cocaine Cowboys, right? Where they basically only had, like, one goddamn police to pretty much service, you know, half of all of Florida. You know what I'm saying? So they was bringing in a lot of drugs through Florida for the longest time, all right? George Young was one of the people that was doing all this, him and Boston George and so on and so forth, you know? But nevertheless, Griselda Blanco, pretty much, her protege was Pablo Escobar. Now, in the movie Blow, which is the story about George Young, all right, you see in that movie where he's going flying over there to get, and he was just a point man flying back and forth, all right, to Pablo Escobar. You know, his plug was Pablo Escobar. But Pablo Escobar got the shit from homegirl Griselda Blanco, right? And which she was still alive when Pablo Escobar was alive for, you know, he wound up getting killed. And she wound up getting killed as well, too. But nevertheless, when George Young from the movie Blow was also moving, so they was kind of moving it the same way. If you know the history about Miami, Florida, all those skyscrapers and shit, like when you watch the movie Scarface, right? Which is a fictional movie. It's a fake movie. Right, but when you look at all those high-rise buildings and all the shit that you see today, all of the Miami was built off of cocaine money, bro. Pablo Escobar is the one who built all that. Him and Griselda Blanco, with all their money, this is how they was laundering their money. Like when you watching the movie Scarface and they was trying to launder the money and clean their money, that's what they was doing into these construction companies or whatever, whatnot, to build Miami, right? Now, Griselda Blanco to Pablo Escobar to this, I can't think of this dude's name, but before you have El Chapo, right? El Chapo was working for another dude who pretty much started the cartels, right? It was this one dude, and then you had two other guys up under him. One of them was El Chapo, right? The dude on top wound up dying, and this split the one cartel into two different cartels, right? So you have like Sinaloa cartel, which is El Chapo and his shit, and I believe the Gulf cartel, which was the other one, right? These guys all started the same. So you see the line of procession from Griselda Blanco, Pablo Escobar, from Pablo Escobar to goddamn this other dude, the Mexican dude, to El Chapo, right? Now, when you go into El Chapo, well, when you go into modern day history like today, right? And if you know, and you lived in Atlanta and you know about this in Atlanta, you have BMF, right? You know, whether they want to call it the Black Mafia family or the Big Meech family, right? Nevertheless, Big Meech, y'all heard that song. Rick Ross, the rapper, made a song, I Think I'm Big Meech, right? This dude, right, well, he was from Chicago, but nevertheless, he had a hub. He had a couple different hubs, but one of his mainstays was in Atlanta, right? Now I can attest to this and remember this from, first of all, when I was younger and I was born in Atlanta, growing up out there, things wasn't as popping as much out there, but, over in the West Side, Bankhead, they had these huge apartments called Bowen Homes. If you watch the music video, Bombs Over Baghdad, when Andre 3000 wakes up and he's running through those apartments and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? That whole time they riding down that strip, there's some apartments on the side of that. There's a huge ass apartments. They used to sell so much drugs out of that shit, right? Now, further in the time, you have Big Meech. Big Meech became one of the biggest goddamn drug dealers, in modern day American time history, right? Now, his plug was what they call, I forgot their names, but it was called the Twins, right? Which was these two Hispanic dudes, which they were going through this other dude, I believe his name was Cato, which was the head of the goddamn Latin Kings and shit like that, which was the connection between El Chapo and his plugs here in America. So this is where the drugs from Mexico come, touch hands down with like the Latin Kings, and then they would give it to Big Meech and shit like that, and then he would help distribute it, because according to the scriptures, we would have differences in between us, the different tribes. So this is why the Issacharites and I believe the Latin Kings, they was basically Ephraimites, all right, and then you had Big Meech and them, Judahites, all right, but nevertheless, they was all working in tandem. But little did they know they was all being funded by the American government. Now, to rewind back into Barack Obama's time, right? Now, I'm saying all this to give you this here picture of where all this shit come from, to go back to this Mormon story, because, again, it's not what it seemed on face value. It's not just that he killing some motherfucking people over there, all right? But nevertheless, going back to Barack Obama's time with him and Eric Holder, you can look this up on YouTube, type in Eric Holder, Fast and the Furious, right? Now, the Fast and the Furious situation with Eric Holder, they got, caught running guns, all right, into Mexico, right? Where the fuck do you think they get all these goddamn American guns? Go on YouTube, also look up Vice, the channel Vice. They did a story on the Mormons and the cartels, right? They'll go in and show you all the damn guns and shit that they got over there. You just look at the guns they got over there. It's all American weapons that they got, man. All right, and I'm not sure, but I believe in Mexico, it might be illegal to even have a gun in Mexico, all right? But nevertheless, when you understand why the damn police all wear masks on their face and shit, and why the cartel seems stronger than the police, all right, is because they're working with the Mexican government, which is working with the American government, all right? Because they get kickbacks for letting this shit come through, and then they can blame it on Mexico, whatever, whatnot, so that they don't know. They need plausible deniability that the American government is bringing drugs into goddamn destroy the American population. People would be in an uproar if they found that shit out. But nevertheless, going back to Eric Holder with the Fast and the Furious, arming the goddamn cartels, bringing them up to this here level that they at now, man. They got all kind of artillery, rocket launchers and shit like that, man. These people has got like a real fucking military, man. Just a couple days ago, man, they had El Chapo. Y'all know who El Chapo is and how he get down. They really can't really contain his ass. They got his ass in the high-rise prison, I believe in New York right now, you know what I'm saying? So he can't goddamn get his way out. But, hey, they don't play out there, man. They will come break his ass the fuck up out of jail with no remorse. But just a couple days ago, they wound up arresting his son, all right? Now, his son, the repercussions of arresting his son was there was an all-out war. They was just burning cars in the streets, killing random people, killing the police, killing every damn body. It was fucking chaos. The Mexican government had to be like, you know what? In order to save lives, preserve lives, and cut down on all this damn violence, we have got to let El Chapo's son go. So they let the motherfucker go because it was like, yo, bro, they got military-grade weapons. Our police don't even got these type of weapons, man, let alone the citizens, man. How do you defend yourself against a goddamn truck with a 50 cal mounted on the back, man? You got a goddamn tripod mounted on the back of your goddamn truck with a 50 cal dumping, like, anti-aircraft gun on the back of your pickup truck rolling through the streets of Mexico. Like, fuck with us if you want to. Look, do study on the cartel, man. They kill like you'll see a fucking dump truck full of goddamn bodies and shit just in the middle of the road, you know, all decapitated and shot up or whatever, whatnot. You know, bodies hanging from the overpass bridges and shit like that with a big ass flag or, you know, like a bed sheet with a note on there. El Chapo did this shit. You know what I'm saying? Fuck with us. We killing everybody. We don't give a fuck. We did this shit. We'll be here tomorrow. We gonna be over at this diner eating tomorrow. If you got problems, come see us. They don't give a fuck, bro. And really, the Lord gonna use these people, man. The goddamn, this is what this story that we watching now is all about, man. All right, full circle. Like I said, that's why I explained how all these drugs started coming into America is because the American government used these drugs basically to goddamn harm Jake with. Because they, except for right now with the opioid crisis where they went, that's another one. All right, 9/11 happened. Oh, there's terrorists and Saddam Hussein had something to do with it. He had weapons of mass destruction. Come to find out he didn't. Well, why the fuck was y'all in Afghanistan? Nobody was in Afghanistan, or nobody from Afghanistan had shit to do with 9/11. Oh, yeah, they got poppy fields out there where they get the opium from to make heroin from. Boom, heroin trade. You see what I'm saying? But they're not going to tell you that that's what they out there doing it for. They're going to tell you some other little bullshit. Oh, we went over there for such on and so forth. But nevertheless, going back to going back into the situation where give me a second. Going back into the situation. Give me 1 second. I don't know what these people are doing. But nevertheless, you know, the American government is not going to allow you to understand, you know, openly what they out here doing with these different things, man. All right? So I'm going to let this video play a little bit more. But like I said, the reason I was explaining how these drugs got to America is so you can see that at the end all be all, this is Esau using his goddamn wickedness to go out here and create these goddamn drugs that he created in the laboratory, all right, for chemical warfare against basically Jake, because this is who is mainly harming up until these times now where the curses are starting to fall upon him, and he's being rewarded double for all the things he's been doing, man. All right, so now, you know, they dying off at a rapid race right now, where it's a state of emergency on a goddamn opioid crisis. All right, letting this video.
Hundreds of thousands of people have died in Mexico's drug war over the last 12 years, despite a military campaign and the killing and arrest of leading traffickers. But Mexico's president has knocked back Donald Trump's offer, ruling out any foreign intervention.
This has been that's some smart shit to do, because why? Just like when you go over to these different countries like Syria, all right? The so-called not legitimate, but the face value reason for why the American military went over there is because they say, oh, y'all got a civil war going on, and you got terrorists over here, so we got to go over here and kill the terrorists, right? We ain't got shit to do with Bashar al-Assad, and we want to get him out of power. That's what they really wanted, but they didn't tell you that. They just told you they went over there to goddamn kill the terrorists. Same thing here. Problem, reaction, solution. They create the problem, all right? They get the reaction of the people. We're tired of the drug cartels. We're tired of these people getting killed off. And they offer the solution. Well, we'll go on with military intervention and a total occupation of the land where the people be way worse off, man. All right? But look at this here devil, man, trying to play the victim card, man. But it's these Edomites' fault for going over and disrupting all this shit, man. We wouldn't have cocaine, heroin, all this shit if it weren't for these goddamn Edomites trying to use this to kill off Jake with, man. All right? But now this shit's backfiring on them. They want to cry about this shit.
Mexico's been working on it for a long, long time, and there's still a problem, and it's getting worse.
Residents on both sides of the US-Mexico border are suffering.
For us, that's our biggest concern, because now you're in our county, our citizens now become vulnerable to any of this kind of violence.
Why this family was targeted remains unclear, but local authorities say it could have been a tragic case of mistaken identity. Jane Norman.
You know what? I was going to... like I said earlier in the video, I was going to go and get some pictures. Matter of fact, give me 1 second.
When ABC...
All right, here's the image that I wanted to find right here. I also came across a different image of Tulsa, Oklahoma. If you know about that, Tulsa, or what they call it? Black Wall Street, all right? Well, I'll actually go back to that image. But nevertheless, here in this here image, all right, you see... You know, and man, this shit really pissed me off, man. You know what I mean? If you've seen us at camp sometimes, you know what I'm saying? I speak about this being what? Back in the old days, this is the olden days Instagram, man. All right, this is, you know, because they took this here picture, all right, posing and cheesing for the gram. You know, they posted up. Look at this dude over here on the left with his foot all posted up. But what you see in this here image is Jake that was tied up and burnt, you know what I'm saying? And you got a whole crowd of these Edomites surrounding him, looking, cheering on, smiling. Nobody in these images is trying to help this here guy out. They all happy and so on and so forth. None of them are crying. All right. This is, you know, just say Omaha race riot 1919. All right. This is what's been going on to our people, man. All right. These are the same images. Let me go back. This is, where is it at? It's down here somewhere. Get a little further down. Hey, there it is. That's not what I was looking for, but hey, this is a knock for you, Jake, that celebrate the 4th of July. It says what your ancestors were doing July 4th, 1776. All right, talking about Independence Day. You were still in slavery in that day, man. That's not your holiday. All right, but let me go down to right here. All right, here's one image and another image, 2 images, right? You have this here image of I believe this is Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yeah, this is Tulsa, Oklahoma. It says, running the Negroes out of Tulsa, June, I don't know, June 1st, I guess, 1921. All right. And this is a postcard, man. This is them basically stunting, man. Yeah, look what we did to these niggas. We burnt. Now, this ain't just one car. This is a whole goddamn city. All right. This is where Jake was living in wealth and everything like that. And these Edomites was living around him. And then they was being jealous of seeing Jake coming up in life and whatever, whatnot. Then all of a sudden they decided they was going to go surround the city. This is, you know, how they talk about September 11th being the first time that, you know, basically there was an attack on American soil or whatever, whatnot, and things like that. Well, really, this is the first time that there was an attack on American soil where people was bombed out and things like that. Because when you really go into this here history, not only did they surround them, but you had a situation where they basically flew in and they bombed their ass, man. And then they wound up going from house to house, and they were shooting up whoever they could find. All right, and then they wound up stealing all their valuables out of their homes and whatever, whatnot, and then burning down the whole city, man. All right, and there was another city like this here in Florida called Rosewood. Matter of fact, there was a bunch of cities in America like this, man. All right, it wasn't just this one city where Jake was out there thriving and like you had millionaires and shit like that. Where in this place they had their own airports, own planes and shit. 1921, Jake had their own fucking airplanes and shit, man. So I be saying, and people look at me crazy when I'm like, well, we was way better off back in the olden days and in slavery than we are today. All right, but nevertheless, this is images, all right, of them burning down Tulsa, Oklahoma, man. All right, burning Jake out, man. All right. Let me go from there and grab some scriptures real quick. Oh, well, fuck it. Let's go back to this here video for 1 second. That's all good. Yeah, I was going to show that image of that burnt out car. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, you know, I had to preface all of that for this because some people are like, oh, this is horrible that you would laugh at this and so on and so forth. No, bro, when you understand the history, this is why we do this, for edification of our people, man. All right, because some people will sit there and look at us like we're such evil and deranged people or whatever, whatnot. No, but when you understand history, you understand where you're coming from. All right, you understand why people make certain moves and decisions that they make, man. All right, it's not just because we just want to be wicked people and laugh at the downfall of just random people. No, man. This is the Lord bringing back payback onto these damn Edomites, man. All right. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find that real quick. This is Revelation 18:6. It's Revelation 18:5. Damn. Revelation 18:5. It says, for her sins have reached unto heaven. All right, this is talking about Babylon, right? Which is known as today as America, right? And who is the head of Babylon, right? The head of the household is these Edomites, right? So it says, Revelation 18:5, it says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she has rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. All right. So not necessarily saying that, oh, you should go pick up arms or whatever, whatnot, and start killing these Edomites, whatever, whatnot. No, the Most High is already doing this, man. All right. There be spirits that be created for vengeance, man. All right. And that's what the Most High is turning up on certain people to do certain things like this, man. Again, we're not promoting you to go do these things. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? Yo, you did this to the people over in Mexico or whatever, whatnot, and the cartels and whatever, whatnot. Now they, you know what I'm saying? They retaliating against you, man. All right. It says, verse 7, how much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously. And how does she live deliciously? And where does she live deliciously at? Right here on the soil of the so-called Native, on America, or the so-called land of the so-called Native American Indians, all right? Which is Gad in the scriptures, all right? The Israelites, all right? But you came over here living all lavish and lovely. Then you want to make the United States and cut off Mexico or whatever, whatnot. And then all of a sudden now you want to leave Utah and shit, move back to Mexico to further your shit, This is how this land got stolen under the guise of so-called religion and Jesus and stuff like that, man. These people remember all of this shit, man. You can't pull a fast one on people who already remember certain shit, man. All right? This is what's wrong with our people right now, man. A lot of our people don't remember the past and don't remember the things that's going on. They just think that we all equal. We should treat everybody the same. The so-called white man ain't our enemy. The so-called, all these different things. But when you look into your history, you'll understand quite clearly that this is your enemy, man. All right? So it says, verse 7, how much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrows. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is Yahweh power which judges her. I'm not saying that this right here, verse 8, happened, over there in Mexico, but nevertheless, you're starting to see these things start to happen, Ultimately, Babylon, this is talking about Babylon, which is here in America, is going to be ultimately burnt with fire. It's going to be turned into the lake of fire. But nevertheless, dealing with these damn Edomites, all right? Because it's not like these Edomites can just leave from out of America and they're not going to be judged. Nah, the judgment going to follow your ass. Just like with Jake, man, all these curses going to pursue you and follow you until you be destroyed, man. And Deuteronomy 30:7, man, these curses are going to be taken off of us and put onto our enemies. And this is what you're starting to see happen, man. All right? So let me go to the book of Ezekiel chapter 35. Let me read through this really quick. It says, moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. Mount Seir is representation. You know how the scriptures say Mount Zion? Mount Zion represents what? The Israelites, all right? Mount Seir represents the Edomites, all right? It says, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith Yahweh power, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee and will make thee most desolate. All right, so the Most High is against these Edomites, these so-called white people, man. The Most High, they're the Most High's enemies. The Most High say he's going to stretch forth his hand, and it says, I will stretch out my hand against thee, I will make thee most desolate. So the Most High's will, his purpose, his plan is to destroy these Edomites, the so-called white man, all right? Now, you're going to ask yourself why. The scripture's going to get into it. Verse 4, I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate. Thou shalt know that I am Yahweh. All right, verse 5, it says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity and the time of their iniquity had an end. So like I showed you about what, and a lot of these things, these atrocities that happen to us when you see these images of, like the images I just showed you of us being burnt, you know what I'm saying, them burning down Tulsa, Oklahoma. All this shit happened after slavery, man. They wasn't really doing all that kind of shit to us in slavery. They, they was whipping us and shit like that. But other than that, a lot of the lynchings, the burnings, that image that I actually showed you of that Jake that was being burnt, that's where you get the term picnic and barbecue from. That was a picnic and a barbecue. What they do is they pick a nigga and then they barbecue his ass, man. So whenever, we gonna have a barbecue or whatever, whatnot. That's what the fuck these terms go back to, man. All right, and see, they still over here in the same folly, man. When you understand these things, all right, it don't seem all that bad when you see the downfall of your enemy. You start rejoicing, like, that's what these motherfuckers get, man. Because they was out there taking Instagram photos back in the days before Instagram was. They made these shits postcards and you look what we did to these niggas. We burnt them the fuck out, man. Posting up with it, you know what I'm saying? Now, the images that we saw about this situation in Mexico, wasn't really nobody posting up with that shit. Those are just images off the damn news, man. All right, but nevertheless, look what Esau did way back in the days before goddamn computers and internet and shit like that. This was like 1921, the late 1800s or the mid to late 1800s. You see what I'm saying? Like, yo, this was going on way back when, man. All right, and it's going to tell you here in the scriptures. It says, Ezekiel 35:5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity and the time of their iniquity had an end. So when the so-called Emancipation Proclamation happened, that was after that time happened. This is when a lot of these things started happening to us, man. All these different atrocities, man. Verse 6, therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with his slain men, and thy hills and in thy valleys and all thy rivers, and thou shalt fall that are slain with the sword. I will make thee perpetual desolation, and thy city shall not return, and you shall know that I am Yahawah. All right. Verse 10, because thou hast said these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas Yahawah was there. What two nations? All right. You have the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, man. All right. Like the scripture say, Judah and Israel was oppressed together. Well, there was only two places we was oppressed together at, because why? You have to understand our history. We was oppressed together in Egypt. All right, because basically that's where the children of Israel started thriving. You know what I'm saying? 70 souls went in, and then we came out as a goddamn nation. All right, in Egypt. So that was the northern and the southern kingdom in captivity together. But after that, the northern kingdom wound up, well, they went into captivity under the Assyrians. All right, and then from there they wound up coming over to the Americas, and this is where you get the so-called natives being over here when Columbus and them came. All right, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. All right, but nevertheless, the other one would be the southern kingdom. All right, when they brought the slaves, the so-called slaves over here to the Americas, man. All right. And then they took over what two lands? Again, like I was saying, the natives was already over here. They was the only people over here. That's why when Columbus and them came, they only found one group of people. It was all basically the natives. It wasn't like the natives was over here living with the Chinese people and some Africans. No, man, it was just really the northern kingdom that was over here, man. All right. So what? They tried to take, they took over the Americas and also Israel, man. Then they're sitting over top of the heads of both the northern and the southern kingdom, the kingdom of Israel and the kingdom of Judah, man. So-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right? Verse 10, because I said these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas Yahawah was there. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahawah, I will even do according to thine anger and according to thine envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them, and will make myself known among them when I judge thee. So they all terrified. How could such a thing happen? Well, wait a minute. Let's go back. You terrified about your grandkids and your little babies and shit getting shot the fuck up and burned out in the car. What about our forefathers when y'all was doing this shit for sport? They doing this shit for revenge, all right? Because of the shit that y'all done doing. Y'all done destroyed their whole fucking economy, all right, with the drugs, the crops. That's a whole nother story about how the crops is all fucked up over there because they done brought Monsanto over there years ago and took over a lot of the resources in Mexico, all right? On a low key, man, Mexico's actually America, man. America got predominantly all the resources over there anyway, man. All right, what is that? I think it's the Chiquita Corporation. And there's like an Orange Corporation too that's over there. But nevertheless, you know, the Banana Corporation and also it's an Orange Corporation that's over there. Pretty much they stole all the resources from over there, man. All right, but nevertheless, Jake was doing this out of you know, recompensing them for the shit that they did to them. But Esau just did this out of their own hatred, out of their own envy, because of what? The blessing. All right. They was jealous and mad because they sold their goddamn blessing to the Israelites, and now they want it back. Now they, well, I can get that. It's in Genesis chapter 27, verse 41. All right, I'll grab it after this. It says, verse 12, and thou shalt know that I am Yahawah, and I have heard all thy blasphemies which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying they are laid desolate, they are given to us to consume. Thus with your mouth have you boasted against me and multiplied your words against me, and I've heard them. Thus saith Yahawah power, when the whole earth rejoice, I will make thee desolate, as thou did rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate. So will I do unto thee. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and even all of Idumea, even all of it. They shall know that I'm Yahawah. So the Most High is going to destroy all of these so-called white people, man. Every last one of them, man. But first, before that happens, they're going to go into captivity up under the Israelites, man. All right. So let me go back up real quick where it says, verse 11, therefore, as I live, saith Yahawah, I will do even according to thine anger, according to thy envy, which thou hast used out of the hatred against them, and I will make myself known among them when I have judged thee. So we're going to go back and find out about this here hatred, this perpetual hatred, all right? Genesis 27 and 41, all right? Dealing with the blessings, all right? Genesis 27 and 41, it says, and Esau, so-called white man, hated Jacob, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. And these words of Esau, her elder son, was told to Rebekah, and she sent and called Jacob her younger son, and said unto him, behold, thy brother Esau is touching thee, doth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. So this is what's in the heart and the minds of these Edomites, man. This is where you get the core. This is the answer to what is racism and why is there racism. All right, really, you only have racism against Jacob and Esau. That's what it is. Really, Esau and Jacob. And you know, it's not because of our skin color, because you have the northern kingdom, all right, they the same damn color as the Ishmaelites, you know, the Arabs, so-called Arabs, right? They don't hate them the same damn way. All right, they using them as a scapegoat before they come down on us, man. They just, you know, some weak person they could take advantage of. All right, and you have people over in like India and stuff like that that's the same color as us, Pakistan and so on and so forth, just as dark as us, man. It's not that they don't like so-called dark-skinned people. It's just they don't like Jacob, all right? And that's the end-all, be-all. All right, I'm going to grab one more. We're going to close out. This is the book of Obadiah. I'm going to start at verse... oh, shit. I'm going to start... I'll start at verse 8. Shall not in that day, saith Yahawah, even destroy the wise men out of Edom and the understanding out of the mount of Esau. And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. So the Most High is about to cut off these Edomites by what? By slaughter. All right. Verse 10. This is the reason why. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. So why are these things happening to these Edomites? Why are a bunch of women and children getting gunned down and burnt to death inside of goddamn SUVs in Mexico? All right, verse 10, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. You seeing this starting to happen right now, man. All right, verse 11, in the day thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captives, his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and thou cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was one of them. All right, Esau was had his hand in the destruction of the Israelites, man. His so-called brother, man. You know, they like to say, oh, why don't we all just get along and have peace, brotherly love? Well, where was the brotherly love, man? This is just a reaction. You getting that judgment now, man. You know what I'm saying? You done went to a restaurant and ordered up all this here food and can't pay the damn bill, or went to a hotel and ordered all this here room service and can't pay the bill. Well, why'd you order up all that goddamn shit, man? You shouldn't have ordered all that. Somebody got to pay for this shit. You gonna have to pay for it, man. All right. Verse 12, but thou should not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger, neither should thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction, neither shalt thou have spoken proudly in the day of their distress. Like that picture, that image that I showed you, man. All right, they standing around Jake having a picnic, man. They picked out a nigga and burnt his ass, man. Barbecued his ass, man. All right, so look, this is what they was over there doing. They was rejoicing over that, man. You seen in that image, they was smiling, laughing, posing for the gram and shit. But now they want to have people have sympathy. Oh, feel sad for us because our women and our children got burnt to death. You know, they used to take our babies and use them for alligator bait, man. All right, so they can get them a fresh pair of gator boots and a gator belt and gator, all kind of gator shit, man. They would tie a rope around the baby's neck. The baby would be crying and screaming and hang it over the water, and the gator would jump out of the water, man. And that's a sight to see. These big-ass gators. Gators actually can lunge themselves out of the water, man. Pretty damn high up in the air, too. All right? Verse 13, thou should not have entered in the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou should not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Just like in 1921 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, man. They came in and bombed the city, and stole all of our stuff, man, and then made postcards about it, laughed about it. You know what I'm saying? And now that place, probably still to this day, is just a goddamn empty field. I know Rosewood, you know, you drive right past Rosewood, look like a big-ass cow pasture, man. It ain't shit left over there, man. It's just desolate, man. There was, like I said, quite a few places. Like, it's probably, I can know of at least about like 7 or 8 different cities that was like this, man. They all fell to the same fate, man. All right? Verse 14, neither should thou have stood in the crossways to cut off those of his that did escape, neither should thou have delivered up those that did remain in the day of distress. For the day of Yahawah is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done it, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thy own head. So these things are happening to them because this is what they did unto us. Took our men, women, and children, hung us up from trees and shit like that, and burnt us. You know what I'm saying? There's a song. Matter of fact, Kanye West remade this song called his song was called Blood on the Leaves, but the original song was by this lady named Nina Simone, who had the song was called Strange Fruit. All right, but nevertheless, in that song, she, you know, you can listen to her sing the song to the lyrics. She say black bodies hanging from I think from the southern trees, you know, talk about the smell and the stench and then their faces and so on and so forth, giving you the visualization of how these things was going, man. You can look up images on the internet now of trees hanging with about 8 or 9 different women and children just hanging from the trees, man. Men and their children or whatever wouldn't have handcuffed to trees, being beaten, just left there, man. All right. It says, verse 15 again, for the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done it, it shall be done unto thee, and thy reward shall return upon thy own head. For as you have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, they shall swallow down, they shall be as they had not been. All right. Verse 17, but upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness in the house of Jacob. And there should be holiness in the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. So like how they came and tore down all of our stuff and stole all of our stuff and possessed it all, it's gonna happen the same way to them, man. All right. Verse 18, and this is gonna be their ultimate end after their slavery, man. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. All right. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall be not any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh has spoken it. So their ultimate end, all right, after they serve out their 1,000 years of slavery, is we're gonna round them all up and burn them all to death anyway, man. It's gonna ultimately eradicate them, man. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end it off with that right there. I'm gonna go ahead and close out. But like I said, man, when you understand the history of a lot of these different things, you know, like how drugs got into America and how it destroyed our communities, or where you get terms like crack babies and shit from, you know, junkies and shit like that, whole generations was destroyed, man. And now this is why we sit here and we rejoice when we see the fentanyl crisis, the opioid crisis. All right, this shit going over here with these Mormons over there, man. All right, because why? They enslaved our people under that religion of Jesus and whatever whatnot, man. It stole all of our possessions and brutalized us, terrorized us, burnt us to death, man. Made memes and Instagram postings of us way back before this shit was even invented. But now all these things are coming back and it's falling upon their heads, man. All right, now all these things are coming down upon them, and they want people to have sympathy for them, man. And our people that want to have sympathy for them, man, this is what the Lord is doing for you as a gift. And if you don't want that gift, how do you think the Most High is going to receive that? You want to be cool with the Most High's enemy? He going to treat you like the Most High's enemy, man. That's why 2/3 of our people going to wind up dying on this here side, man, because they can't let go of their slave master with their Stockholm syndrome. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahawah, BaHashem, YAHAWASHI, BaHashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone and taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for your octane pushing this truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Till next time, I say, stay strong and shalom.